Jayson Tatum has finally arrived. Jayson Tatum is here. Jayson Tatum is an up-and-coming superstar in the NBA. He is now the best player on the Boston Celtics. It's funny because me and my co-host Chet on the SNS podcast, on Apple Podcasts, also on Spotify, go check that out. Go subscribe. Me and my co-host Chet was talking about Jayson Tatum. We was talking about Jaylen Brown. Was talking about Jimmy Butler. I said he was better than. Not only is he better than Jaylen Brown, I said he's better than Jimmy Butler as well. He was going all crazy and stuff like that. And then we also was talking about in our past podcasts that just released, we were talking about how he felt that the Boston Celtics wasn't going to be a legitimate threat in the Eastern Conference. And I said that they're going to be a legitimate threat in the Eastern Conference because they have the best starting five in the Eastern Conference, and not just in the Eastern Conference, probably one of the best starting fives in the entire landscape of the NBA if you really dissect each team's roster. It's only probably about two or three other teams' roster of starting fives I would probably take over the Boston Celtics. But that being said, I think it showed how great of the Boston Celtics team is and how they played against the Los Angeles Lakers. Even though they lost, they didn't have Kemba Walker as well. It just shows you that Jayson Tatum has arrived. It shows you that Jayson Tatum is now a player that you can depend on and you can run your offense through, which the Boston Celtics have been doing for the past 3 weeks. And even Jaylen Brown came out and said that he's now our best player. He's taking that leap. He's now a superstar in this league. So it just goes to show you the confidence that not only does Jaylen Brown have in Jayson Tatum, but probably the entire team of the Boston Celtics have in Jayson Tatum. And his talent has always been there, but coming off that crazy rookie playoff series where he was doing things that we haven't seen done before, looking like the second coming of Kobe Bryant. And then he came into some unrealistic expectations in the following season. But now, in his third season, he's showing everybody that he's a top 7 player in the Eastern Conference. And he's showing his game, without a question, is smooth and polished. He can score at all 3 levels. He can hit the 3. He can hit the mid-range game. He can get to the paint, finish, athletic as well. And it's just like he has shown the ability to improve from his second season to his third season in the NBA, where in his second season, at times, he was taking difficult shots and taking long contested twos. Now he's more of an efficient player. Now he understands the game more. Now, if the defender goes under the screen, he's hitting the 3. If the defender goes above the screen and tries to get on top of the screen and tries to cover him, now he has the ability to make a combination of moves and hit a shot. And also, he has the ability to get to the rim. And he wasn't doing that his second season in the NBA. So you've seen the development and improvement in his game, and it's paying off. And now, like I said, even though I picked originally the Philadelphia Sixers to go to the finals, and then I changed it like 2 weeks into the season, so I believe the Toronto Raptors are going to go to the finals. But now the Boston Celtics have, I still believe, the best starting 5 in the Eastern Conference. They're going to be a legitimate threat to any team in the Eastern Conference. We don't know. That's why everybody's talking about the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm telling people to pump the brakes on just locking and guaranteeing that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to go to the finals. Because if you look at it, if the Philadelphia Sixers have a healthy Ben Simmons, we don't know what's going to happen with that situation. They're still going to be a threat. The Toronto Raptors are the defending champions, and they won their championship team. They're going to be a threat. I'm picking them to go to the finals. And then you got the Milwaukee Bucks, and then you got the Boston Celtics as well, and the Miami Heat that can all compete with the Milwaukee Bucks. It's no team in the Eastern Conference that I can legitimately say, even though Milwaukee Bucks have the best record, they're on pace to win 70 wins. I've seen the Milwaukee Bucks in the playoffs. Is Giannis going to be able to close out games when it matters the most, or is he going to have to rely on his teammates like Chris Middleton, Eric Bledsoe, George Hill, and those guys, when we know in the playoffs where role players can be great all throughout the regular season, but in the playoffs, you need your stars to come through. Chris Middleton is a bucket. Chris Middleton can close out games for the Milwaukee Bucks. But last time we saw Chris Middleton in the playoffs, he didn't look like he looked in the regular season. That's also my biggest concern as well. But what you got guys on the Boston Celtics that's kind of been there before. Jayson Tatum's been there. Jaylen Brown's been there in their rookie season. Kemba Walker is hungry. He wants to show that the reason why he left the Charlotte Hornets is because he wants to be a winner. And he's always a dynamic player. Just going back to his college days of him being clutch and him being one of the best college basketball players we have ever seen. We know he lives for those big moments. So then you have Gordon Hayward, who is finally showing that, he's not what he used to be, but he's coming close to be that player that he was with the Utah Jazz. The only thing I'm concerned about the Boston Celtics is, of course, their big man. That is their biggest weakness. But when you have Marcus Smart, Gordon Hayward, Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker, that starting five can go up against anybody, especially if they play small ball. They're not going to be able to play small ball with all the teams in the NBA, of course. But that group, that top five, the top six players that they have on their team, can match up with any team in the Eastern Conference right now. And to me, it's the best. They had the best starting five in the Eastern Conference, even though Thaddeus is not, a great center like some of the other teams when it comes to facing other big men in the playoffs. If they face like Giannis and Pascal and stuff like that, or even Joel Embiid, but they're wing players. They have probably some of the best wing players in the game right now. So I think Jayson Tatum has taken a leap. I think the Boston Celtics are going to be a big threat in the Eastern Conference, and really it's going to come down to matchups. What are the matchups going to be in the Eastern Conference? We know that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be the number one seed, but after that, 2, 3, and 4 is very, very important. It's very important for, I would say, the Boston Celtics and even the Toronto Raptors to make sure that they don't have to play the Milwaukee Bucks until maybe the conference finals. And even the Philadelphia Sixers do not want to play the Milwaukee Bucks, even though they're the best team that matches up perfectly with the Milwaukee Bucks with a healthy Ben Simmons. But it's all going to come down to matching. But Jayson Tatum has taken the next step. Jayson Tatum has arrived. Jayson Tatum is looking like potentially he can be a future MVP caliber player. And he's amazing. He's great. And also, he's a two-way player as well, which has to – people love to talk about defense. He plays both sides of the ball. He's not as great as a defender as Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart, of course, but he still can play defense. We've seen him play great defense on Kawhi Leonard and put Kawhi Leonard in jail, essentially, when they played the Los Angeles Clippers or the Boston Celtics. They played against each other before the All-Star break. So we've seen Jayson Tatum be a great offensive player. We've also seen him on the defensive side as well. He's a complete basketball player. He's a special talent. And it's the reason why that the Boston Celtics not want to trade Jayson Tatum for a package with Anthony Davis. As great as Anthony Davis is, they just didn't want to take a gamble on risking if Anthony Davis trading away their best player, Jayson Tatum, and getting Anthony Davis for potentially only one season. So it seems like everything is working out, and it seems like the Boston Celtics are going to be a legitimate threat to come out of the Eastern Conference. And to be honest, I would love a potential finals matchup with the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Lakers to start off the 2020 decade. That would be special. But, of course, we got to see how things play out in the Western Conference. We got to see how things play out in the Eastern Conference. And as much as I love Jayson Tatum, I'm still believing that the Toronto Raptors are going to return to the NBA Finals. But if it's a team that has to go to the NBA Finals other than Toronto Raptors, I wouldn't mind seeing the Boston Celtics advance to the NBA Finals.